plan time for resources or your teams, you can run a plan time report to see all that data in one spot. The plan time report lets you review your plans and look for patterns to spot overbooking or underutilization. You can see how many hours that each resource is working and on which project or work item. So, here's our scenario. One of the project managers at our fictional company, Lunar Industries, has planned work for several resources for an upcoming mineral mapping project on the moon. Now she needs to run a report to see the number of hours planned and to make sure that the resources are working at the correct capacity. Then she can share this report with other managers who also need to see the number of hours planned for this project and which resources are working on it. So let's start out in Capacity Planner, where we can see the time planned out for these resources who are filtered by their skills. And the time period is set for next quarter, which is the project's duration. You could go to Reports here on the sidebar to create a planned time report, filtering what you want, such as by the project, and then grouping the data as you like. But it would take a bit of work to get the data exactly as you have it in the resource planning view. So the best way to get a report on what you see here is to click the View and Report icon in the top right, and a planned time report is created here. This automatically uses the same time period, and it filters for the same resources, in this case, all the users with the skills that we had filtered for. Each resource is shown with their time planned on the work items, listed under the JIRA space. In this case, I don't need to see each work item, so I'll go to the Group By field here and remove the issue. You can, of course, customize the data to show. Simply add different tempo fields, JIRA fields, or your custom fields. I'll click Apply, and now the report is shorter, with only the users and their planned hours grouped by the JIRA spaces. But there's still a lot of detail with the hours for each day, so I'll go to the menu up at the right and select weeks instead of days. That still gives me the hours I need to see, but in a more compact way. The planned hours column is already shown here, and I can see how many hours are planned in total for each resource, grouped by each JIRA space. But I also want to see the capacity for each resource, so I'll go back to this menu and add the required and planned capacity columns to the mix. The planned capacity is the percentage of each resource's required hours that are actually planned. Now I can see if anyone is overbooked or under capacity. Around 85% capacity is right for us at this point, so it seems that everyone is at capacity, except for David, who can take on some more work later on in the project. If you want a quick visual look at how the planned hours stack up, you can also show charts up here, and I'll select hours by team member. And it's easy to spot who has the most planned time or the least planned time. And I see the overall capacity of these resources is 86%. I can also view the chart by period, which is each week in this case. Most weeks are pretty full, and then the work trails off at the end, but this will get booked as we get closer to those dates. Everything looks good. So I'll save the report and call it Lunar Mineral Mapping Project, Q2 2026. And with it saved, I can now share it with other Capacity Planner users, such as the resource manager and another project manager who have permission to see everyone's planned time. For those who don't have permissions or don't use Capacity Planner, I can export the report up here, and I'll select XLS to create an Excel spreadsheet version of this file. Let's open this file and take a look inside. For each resource, you can clearly see their capacity percentage, including the average at the bottom. There are also the required hours and the planned hours. And on the right, there's a breakdown of each resource's hours spent on each JIRA space per week. This Excel file can now be sent to program managers or financial teams at Lunar Industries so that the data can be used in their project management or budgeting apps.